Welcome to Fully In It, a show for visionaries, leaders, entrepreneurs, and those who know they are called to so much more. Join me, Kate Saffel, a mindset expert, multiple six-figure business coach, and a woman on a quest to show that anything you desire to create in your life is truly possible. This show is about going fully in it for you and the people you love by showing up powerfully in all areas of your life. Join me for regular inspiration and encouragement to follow your intuition, lead with integrity and heart, and live boldly every damn day. Welcome to episode 101 of the Fully In It podcast. Today's episode is one that is so needed right now. If you feel like you are just trudging through your days, like each day is Groundhog's Day and you're doing the same thing over and over, but you're not even sure, why am I doing these things? Or maybe you're not even questioning it, but you feel like something is missing. You feel like there's some kind of disconnection and you can't really put your finger on it. But there's all of this pressure around new year, new you, resolutions, and you're thinking maybe there's something wrong. And when you come to your life from a place of there must be something wrong, there's something off, we tend to look at our lives and look at our days through a microscope, and you're not really seeing the big picture. And if we want to take this example a little bit further, you're looking through a microscope that is set to the perception that something is wrong. So this is why today I want to talk to you about your life vision and how to get insanely clear on what it is. Because the truth is that you do know what your life is meant to be. And you get to have meaningful days that feel like they are contributing to a bigger picture. But it is impossible to get to that bigger picture if you're not entirely clear on a few elements of your life. But first, before we jump into all of these, I wanted to tell you about something that I have been up to. So in 2019, you guys, I created something called the Daily Life Hacks for Moms e-course. And this was a completely free 5-day audio e-course. And the feedback I received on it was like, 1, how is this even free? 2, this was such a game changer. And it made such a difference for the women who downloaded it. And what I decided to do was to essentially refresh it for 2023 because it's been a few years. Now, the audios actually stayed the same. I went through and I listened to them last weekend and I was blown away. And I thought, wow, 2019 Kate knew what she was talking about. And so to preserve the integrity of the original idea, I did not re-record these. They are absolutely exactly the message that you may need to receive even in 2023. However, I did update all the infrastructure around them. I tested it. I went back through it to make sure that the experience would be as supportive as possible. We are going to, of course, get into your life vision. But the reason that I mentioned the Daily Life Hacks free e-course is that life vision is one component of the 5 days that you're going to experience when you go through it. And it is really a beautifully holistic way to bring more clarity and more ease to your days and ultimately to your life. So if this is something that you know would benefit you, you are ready to have some support in creating that clarity, that momentum, and just maybe even to feel a little bit happier in your days, I've got you. The best way to access this free course is to head to thestreamlinedlife.com. This is my homepage, and you are going to scroll down to the bottom. You will see a big picture for the e-course, and you're going to enter your name and your email address, and this is going to give you immediate access. Now, I'm going to send you an email every day for 5 days, talking a little bit more about what you're going to experience in that day's lesson. Remember, I used to be a professor, so I take teaching very seriously, and I want to support you in your growth. With that said, if you are the type of woman that loves to binge and you want to just dive right in, that first email is going to give you a link so that you can access all of the day's audio trainings. And these cannot be found anywhere else. And I know that they are going to serve you so deeply. I hope that you love it. Please send me a message on social media at Happier in Motherhood or at I am Kate Saffel to let me know what you think of the e-course. Let's talk about your life vision. Your life vision is a picture of how you desire your life to be by stepping out of the tunnel vision of daily life so that you can think of the whole of your time on earth. Your life vision allows you to value what actually matters to you and release the pressure and the expectations around what doesn't. It's making decisions for who you truly want to be, the life experience that you desire to have, instead of staying in the nitty-gritty of each day, days that repeat on end, where you're going through the motions and you're doing the exact same thing you did yesterday because you simply don't know what else to do. Now, this is something that, for whatever reason, I have grown eyes to see. I don't know, is this a gift? What it is? But I can always see clearly the people who are living life intentionally, eyes wide open, paying attention, living in their values, working toward a beautiful vision for themselves and their families. And I can also tell when people are simply going through the motions. When they're waking up each day without a plan, they are very reactive and consequently, typically, a bit unhappy. The thing about happiness is that, you're often told it has to do with externals, like the things that you buy, what kind of home you have, what kind of car you drive, the clothes you wear, where you send your kids to school or the extracurriculars that they do, the vacations that you take, the way that your body looks. These are the externals that we associate with happiness. But the thing is about basing your happiness on externals is that it's fleeting, it's momentary. You may get the car of your dreams, but how long will that happiness actually last for you? This is why I am such a big supporter of cultivating internal happiness. Because when you know how to create your own joy, your own pleasure, your own satisfaction on demand, you no longer are a victim to needing externals to make you feel better, because you are the one who knows how to create it for yourself. And this has been something that I've worked on within myself for almost a decade, of living originally in a place of needing externals to prove and justify my value and my worth. I needed to have those things. And I think for many of us who are of a certain generation, you were told that the externals were the definition of your worth, like where you went to school, what you studied, what kind of job you got afterward, what house you live in, even the community that you call home. These things were the indicators of your life well lived or your life not well lived. But what we know going through, multiple recessions in our collective lifetime, going through a pandemic and seeing what that did to so many people and maybe did to you too, is that facade began to fall apart. There are just not enough things that you can purchase to perpetually stay in a place of happiness. This is why I am constantly talking about your life vision. And I'm going to dig into the components of it here in a moment, because from my perspective, both what I've done in my own life, but also with all of the clients that I have served, is that when you get clear on this is the game changer that impacts the quality of your life and also how you see yourself. Your life vision is made up of many, many days that reflect what you have decided to prioritize. They also show what you think you have to prioritize. Those things that you tell yourself, I have to do this, I should do this, when in reality, you are the one who creates the experience that you're having. Isn't that wild? You could completely clear the slate of everything today. You could. I know that you won't, because the fear of releasing and letting go is too strong. What if I told all of these people no? What if I walked away from the job that I hate? What if we put our house up for sale because I'm really tired of taking care of it and I want to live in something smaller, but what would people think? There are all of these stories that we create in our minds that keep us stuck in a certain way of being. But again, you get to decide what is the experience of your life that you want to have. Now, maybe you don't know how you want to spend your days differently. Maybe me saying all of this is making you feel sweaty and nervous. Maybe your life isn't actually bad at all. Maybe you already love your life and you aren't sure that you do or that you should want more or different. Maybe you just really love the way it is, and that is okay. What I want to offer you right now is a framework for getting more clarity on your life vision, so that if life is not going the way that you want, you know how to get that clarity that is going to support you to make the changes that you need to make. Or if your life is already amazing and you want more of what you already have, this will also support you. So when we think of a roadmap, a way of seeing the big picture for your life vision, it is made up of equal parts of your values, your story, and your goals. And each of these components is necessary for you to see and live in the vision that is possible for you and your family. So when we think of our values, I want you to think about the possibility that you could spend a day of your life doing anything that you desire, anything. No limits, no expectations. What would you actually do? How would you spend a day if you had an entirely free day? When you think about this, it shows you what's truly important to you and what isn't. It highlights your values. When we clear the slate of all of the to-dos and the responsibilities, it creates more space for you to think about what you actually want. It's kind of like when you're a child and you know you have all the possibilities in the world. There's no pressure. You can be anything and do anything you want. And then we become grown-ups and we have mortgages and bills and, a career path that we're afraid to leave and expectations from the kids' school and their extracurriculars, and maybe your parents are aging and there's expectations there. There's so much pressure, right? There's so much going on, and it can keep you from getting creative about your life and remembering that you still get to decide. You are not locked in. You can have whatever life you desire, even if it means you may have to get creative with how that could actually happen. Secondly, when you think about the possibility of doing anything you want for a day and allowing yourself to play in that, it will also tell you what you don't want or what you actually don't stand for. When you look at your days currently, what feels a little bit off or misaligned? What feels like you're pushing through it instead of being something that you truly enjoy doing? What are you saying yes to right now that is actually a no for you? And while we're on this subject, what are those things that your brain keeps circling around? Should I do this? Should I not do this? What if I did this? What if I don't do it? What will people say if I do? What will they say if I don't? Those things need greater introspection and also trusting yourself that you do know what you do want and what you don't want. And if you had a magic wand and you could instantly stop doing something that's on your plate currently, what would you be so grateful to release? This indicates to you what activities, responsibilities that you currently have that do not align with your values, and it's time to find a way to release them. I know, easier said than done, but again, we are talking about your life here. If you think about getting to the end of your life, are you going to actually care about that one responsibility that you felt like you should say yes to? Or are you going to be so grateful that you reclaimed your time, your energy, your joy? Be brave. Okay, so the second part of your life vision is story. What is the story you're telling with your life? If someone were to write a book about your life, what would be in it? What is the grand narrative that others are experiencing when they peer into your life? And it doesn't have to be this epic journey. It does have to be true to you. And think about the story that you're telling about your family as well. So when we think of a story, the story reflects the values that are inherent within the messaging. Is your story congruent with the values that you want to live in? I often think about the Little House on the Prairie series. My kids loved it when they were little, and we still reread it. It's a favorite read aloud. Why is it that families have been reading that series for almost 100 years? What is it about that story that is so compelling? We could look through it through one lens. This was a family that was constantly trying to figure it out. They were barely breaking even. Their dad made a lot of costly and also dangerous mistakes. They were sometimes misinformed. And it took a really long time for them to get to a point of even the barest comforts that we so take for granted today. We don't read the book through that lens though, right? Instead, what we see is what their life represents: resiliency and courage, simplicity and focusing on what truly matters, and that they stayed true to their values. The thing is that Laura Ingalls Wilder was a masterful storyteller. She wrote her own story in a way that would be engaging to read and to hear read aloud. You have that same ability when it comes to your own story and thinking about the version of your life that you have been telling yourself. The final part of this is your goals. We are not meant to float through life, but to evolve and create and to stand for something. I truly believe that this is what it means to be human. When you know what you value in the story of your life, you can then set some meaningful goals. And I don't mean goals in the New Year's sense or goals that are just to meet some external expectation, but ones that create momentum, opportunity, and remind you of how capable you are. We don't ever want to set goals to meet someone else's external approximation of who you should be, but to support the development of your own definition of who you are. Goals are supportive. Goals add flavor to this life, and they help you to become more of who you already are inside. So do you currently have any goals? And do your goals support the life that you are committed to creating? I think about a lot of the goals that I have set in my own life, and they're very, very different from what are conventional goals, right? It's not like, weigh this amount or have X number of dollars or get this title at work. I don't really care about those things. What I do care about is taking meaningful action toward becoming the fullest expression of who I am as a woman and as a mother and as a leader. And also in cultivating goals for my family to help my children on their own journeys, and also as what we stand for as a collective family unit. It's also no coincidence that my business is an extension of my family's vision and supports it. This is why you'll often hear me talk about, if you have a business, it being the foundation for a life that you love. I designed my business to also tell a story, to be rich with values, mine and yours, right? The ones that we collectively share, and to help me meet my goals for my family's well-being, my own goals, and for the women I serve. So you can also think of your career, your business, your passion project, whatever that thing is that you do. Your values, your story, and your goals are what will lead to a flourishing and ever-evolving life vision. It's going to bring more meaning to your days so that when you wake up in the morning, you know what you are doing and actually why you are doing it. You are no longer going through the motions, but you move with purpose. Your life vision is like holding a map that shows you the big picture and gives you the needed clarity to make decisions, to make moves, and create a story worth living. I'm so glad that you were here with me today, and I will see you next week.